Hey all, this is 012 Boku, and I'm coming at you with another review of you know, trying to hold on to that plastic forever, and it's terrible, and I'm doing a crappy job of it. But there it is, Twin Peaks. I mean, I try to keep this stuff in plastic to protect the covers, but oh well. I've got like several different versions of this, so as long as I can keep one of these complete editions protected, I will do so. But yeah, Twin Peaks. We are on episode 2, and yeah, I'm sorry. I know Zombie JLT1. If you're watching me, yeah, I'm sorry for doing that. But some of those plastics, I'm doing a great job of protecting. Others are just they're falling off, man. I mean, I've just been terrible at opening them, so sorry about that. But it is what it is. But episode 2 is called Zen, or the Skill to Catch a Killer. And the reason for that is episode 2 takes a very interesting twist. That's so hopefully it's sunny in your guys' eyes. Yeah, it takes a very interesting twist down to where we start getting into the supernatural because, like, the episode starts off. I mean, I guess I'll get to the meat of it to where, you know, uh, Dale, Special Agent Dale Cooper is trying to figure out this case, and they're trying to, get further into the thing of who killed Laura Palmer. Dale Cooper has this analogy to where they come in, and he has this thing to where he talks about the people of Tibet, and he's had dreams of Tibet, wanting to help the Dalai Lama and their people, and help the Dalai Lama, establish, things from India back to Tibet, so, they can get the Chinese out and take back the land for their people. But he also says the reason he had this idea from a dream is because he uses this formula of a bottle, rocks, them saying the names. He repeats the names of the people they have as suspects, throws the rocks at the bottle, and anything that gets near the bottle, they make a check mark of. They do this or that. And, he throws it at all the various names. So many to list, but the two that were important of is that when he said Dr. Jacoby's name, the bottle was struck, didn't break. When they mentioned Leo Johnson's name, Leo Johnson, the bottle broke, and they, took that down. Plus, they also discuss One-Eyed Jack's, which is a club and casino and burlesque house on the Canadian side of the border near, Twin Peaks and into Canada. To which I guess we could take that to the Horns, to where, Benjamin Horn is having a very quiet and awkward dinner with his son, daughter, Audrey, son's name's Johnny, and then Sylvia Horn as well. And, they're not saying anything. It's at the beginning of the credits. It's just this awkward silence. Jerry comes in bringing all these things because he's back from Paris. He has a baguette, and there's this hilarious scene where him and Ben Horn are just biting into these baguettes, and Benjamin and Jerry are just like, having a great time talking with their mouths full. It's being weird. Sylvia's distraught, of course. She's not liking it. Audrey doesn't know what to think. Audrey's just like, this is a typical day. Johnny, being as simple and, mentally ill as he is for reasons we don't know, is just sitting there and whatnot. But, again, Benjamin takes Jerry aside after he just, leaves the family, because he says, like, in a mocking way, after he's done eating his piece of baguette, always a pleasure. Benjamin then leads Jerry on to where they lost the contracts with the Norwegians. He doesn't tell Jerry that Audrey was a part of it, but Jerry's all upset that they lost the contract with Ghostwood. And, he's also told that Laura's died, and, Jerry's like, huh. I mean, he was more upset with losing the contracts, but when he says, Leland's daughter Laura died, he's like, Laura? Huh. I'm depressed. And Benjamin says, well, I know how to fix that. Let's go to One-Eyed Jack's. And One-Eyed Jack's, this establishment for West House Casino, is seemingly owned by Ben Horn, and they meet up with Blackie, who is the quote-unquote co-owner of One-Eyed Jack's. And apparently Jerry and Benjamin flip over this new girl is we have all these hot women come out, and there's this one nice looking blonde. Benjamin and Jerry end up flipping a coin. Benjamin gets the new blonde, which Jerry's upset, but I guess Blackie and a couple of the other girls are going to help take care of Jerry. So that comes in with that. And let's see here. I know there was other things. I got a whole bunch. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of notes written on this. Yeah, Cooper's Dream, which we'll get back to. And oh yeah, I guess I could always go to this one too. I'll get some of the other minor characters out of the way. Bobby meets with Leo, and from the previous episode, Bobby and Leo were talking about the drugs they needed to get from Leo and how Laura had the other half of the money and they didn't get it. And then you have this thing where I guess I now know who the masked man was with Leo because they mentioned it in the credits. That was Bernard Renault, who was watching Bobby and Mike with Leo because they meet up. There's no drugs in the football, or there's only half the drugs. Leo is there with a shotgun, threatening Bobby and Mike with this flashlight, which it's normal, and at times it's red. It's a very creepy scene. It's really well done for Leo. Leo looks all otherworldly. It's so great, but like Leo's saying, I know weird things about Laura. I need a new pair of shoes. I need money, cash on delivery, Bobby. He's basically just intimidating Bobby and Mike the entire time. And there's a thing where, Bobby's telling, Leo, him and Mike will get the money, and then Leo's just like, go out for a pass. Run, run, run! And, they start running, and, Leo throws the empty football at, Bobby's car, and Bobby and Mike take off. And later on, Bobby goes to Shelly, where we see Shelly's aftermath, where she's got a few bad bruises on her face from the sock and the soap with Leo, and Bobby vows to kill, Leo for what he did to Shelly. So we'll see how that turns out when we get to that point. You also have a thing where, you have Norma and Ed meeting together to where Ed accidentally spills grease, and Nadine, I should bring Nadine into this. He accidentally sneaks into the house, he popped a grease gun, he steps on, Nadine's drape runner, spills grease on them. That grease gives Nadine the idea for the silent drape runner, which she's all happy for Ed for doing. Ed is just confused, has no idea why. And Ed and Norma, talk about their love life again and what they've sort of missed out, and how, how he was hit by Bobby, sort of continuing that. Also how Nadine would kill him if they knew they were seeing each other, because you clearly could see within the pilot and these first 2 episodes here that Big Ed and Norma were obviously in love, and maybe something happened that got them apart. That will also be developed, but that continues. You also have where, James and Donna are getting closer and sort of just talking about and feeling things, and that, they have no qualms about what they're doing, even though, they're friends with Laura, and you're learning that James may have had a deeper thing with Laura, possibly Donna too, but you don't know, and there's some weird hints within that. Also, before we get back into Cooper, because Cooper was sort of the main focus of this episode, you had it to where, Leland is seen listening to, and I'm going to put the trademark thing in this, he's listening to Pennsylvania, I think 6,000 is what the song's called, and he starts dancing with Laura's picture in a circle while he's wailing, looking at Laura. So, Leland Palmer is completely distraught. Sarah comes in, starts yelling at Leland. Sarah tries to take the picture from Leland. Leland falls, and Sarah falls as well. They break the picture. Sarah basically smacks the needle off the record and screams at Leland, "What is going on in this house?" And Leland just sits there and cries while his bloody hand is going over the picture of Laura. So that's a little disturbing, and just like, hey, and I'll even say, if you know the show, a little bit of foreshadowing. Also as well, we go into, back to Cooper, to where Cooper, he's there with Harry. Sorry, I know I'm saying it, a lot, I'm catching that. Where he's with Harry Truman, and Sheriff Harry Truman and him are going over things. You have Albert Rosenfield coming in And Albert Rosenfield comes in. He's just this dry wit, not caring for the backwoods town of Twin Peaks. He's very blunt, very quick, very discerning. And him and, Cooper seem to get along fine. And you have it to where he's just straight up and blunt with the sheriff and with the people there. And, Truman doesn't take kindly to it. And Truman's like, hey, Albert, if you come in here, talk that kind of crap, you'd find your teeth 2 blocks up Queer Street. And, so he doesn't take very kindly to it. And Albert's just like, he just walks out, as he leaves. So that continues. And then this show ends with the strangest thing to where we see the one-armed man, and we see Bob, who is claiming to be this killer in this dream where they're talking about it. And, I don't want to say the quote of Mike because, that probably could get me flagged or in trouble because I'm quoting right from the movie. But, Mike says, from the days of future past line, which is the famous line of this whole show and series of movies that David Lynch did for Twin Peaks. And then you have Bob saying, I'm insane. You think I may have gone insane, but I'll catch you and kill you again with my death bag. So, sort of doing those things. We also see a quick thing of the locket surrounded by this mural of candles that gets blown out. And all of a sudden, after meeting and talking with Mike and Bob, where Mike says, the one-armed man, he says we, lived above a convenience store. I mean it like it is, like it sounds. And then it cuts to Cooper sitting in this weird red draped room with a zigzaggy floor, and he sees a midget or dwarf dancing to where we also see pictures of Sarah Palmer slowly going down the stairs, creepily going Laura, Laura, like that when she was looking for Laura the morning she was killed. And we see Cooper come into focus. He sort of looks a little older, wrinkly, a bit of gray hair. And there's the dwarf turns around and, he's speaking backwards. He says, let's rock. And, he's getting all these weird inferences that, that something's weird, that, the gum he likes is going to come back in style. We always sing a pretty song. There's magic and birds in the air. And then he brings Cooper's attention to this lady who is Laura Palmer. And Laura Palmer is there. It is Laura Palmer. She's in a black dress, beautiful, nice looking. And, the dwarf says she's my cousin, but doesn't she look like Laura Palmer? And Cooper's like, well, you're Laura Palmer. And then she's like, sometimes I look like her, but my arm's been back. So it's all these weird flippin' riddles that make no sense. And all of a sudden, the dwarf keeps talking, and then the dwarf starts dancing, like this, and just moving around. And, a strobe light starts going off in the background, and it's very weird. Jazz music starts playing. And then you have Laura get up. She kisses Cooper and whispers something in Cooper's ear while the dwarf still dances. And then suddenly, Cooper wakes up at the start. He calls Harry and says, I know who killed Laura Palmer. And he tells Harry, no, it can wait till morning. And then while doing this, Cooper's dancing around to the beat, and that's how episode 2 ends. So very, very nutty, but strange. Let's see. I'll mention some characters really quick. Kyle MacLachlan, Special Agent Dale Cooper, great performance from him as always. Michael Ontkean, I have to give it as Harry S. Truman, very good. Dana Ashbrook, Bobby Briggs, got to give it to him for this one. Same thing with Richard Beamer, Benjamin Horne. That was very good. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. With the Martells, because as I was going through the cast list here, with the Martells, Pete gives Jocelyn Packard a secret key of Catherine's, and that's where Jocelyn finds there's 2 ledgers where she's finding out there's something going on with the mill. Forgot to mention that too, as I saw Pete Martell, Jack Nance was a part of this, so there was that too. As a final saying, it wasn't really huge in this episode, but it leads that going on too. Oh, have to give it to Eric DeRay, Leo Johnson, very creepy, very good role for this one. Cheryl Lee for the dream sequence, as Laura Palmer well done, and the backwards voice stuff really good. Also, let's see here, everybody else here. And I guess if I had to say, I have to give it to oh yeah, David Patrick Kelly meeting Jerry Horn, Miguel Ferrer, FBI agent Albert Rosenfield, very good. Let's see, Grace Zabriskie, Ray Wise, Leland Palmer, Sarah Palmer, and Al Strobel is the one-armed man. Got to give it to that too. So sorry, that was the big list there, sort of going down. But overall, great episode. It really opens up now the world of the supernatural. You're going to start seeing a lot of interesting, somewhat more quirky, dumb stuff too, but a lot of interesting doors and characterization open up from this. So, let me know what you guys think of episode 2 of Twin Peaks. And again, what do you think of this show? Just leave your comments on down below and we'll get this discussion going, all right? Okay, talk to you guys again later.